We're not thinking futuristically. I remember a few weeks ago I preached about forward thinkers. Y'all, anybody remember that? Anybody over here remember that? Anybody over here remember forward thinkers? There's some people, if they didn't have the past to dwell on, they don't have a conversation. If they didn't have the troubles and the woes of the past to talk about, you would never get a word out of them. Because they are stuck in the past. When I say forget about the past, I want to talk about putting old stuff behind us. Listen, what do you do with old things? This is a question and challenge that everyone at some point will be faced to answer. The constant delay and denial of dealing with things that have no promise and are not connected to our future is oftentimes ignored. Old clothes that used to be admired and used to be in style are easily crowding your closet. Old shoes, not worn, taking up good space and collecting dust. Old food in the fridge or freezer will eventually leave a stench and a smell and occupy good space. Old cars parked in the yard are sore out to the community, and nowadays they'll make you pay for it. Old papers and books, how about this one? Old papers and books on the shelf take away from the tidiness of the room. What about this one? Old texts and emails on the cell phone often sit unaddressed and ignored. Here's a serious one too. Old issues and unresolved feelings lurk in the dark resources of the mind, often robbing the soul of peace. The question still remains, what do you do with old things? It's going to be short, I hope. Planned it would be short. The question is, what do you do with old things from the past? Here are a few suggestions that you should do with old things. Take the clothes that's hanging in the closet that you're not going to wear anymore. Take them to Goodwill. You can't wear it anymore. Because you cannot squeeze Texas in Delaware. Give it to the Salvation Army. Give it away or throw it away. Give the old shoes. And this happened to me recently. I bought a pair of very nice shoes years ago, and I keep, sometimes when I'm watching TV, I'm just polishing my shoes. But I bought a pair of Cole Haan shoes, very nice, some years ago, and I kept them in my closet for years, and I was going through the other day, and I put them on. I was too embarrassed to tell my wife, so I'll just tell the world. I went in the box, and I took them out. Well, I didn't in the box. I put them out, and I put another shine on them, and I hadn't worn them in probably about 10 years. I said, I'll wear these to work today. They were so old that by the time I got to work, they had the top was leather, but the bottom was rubber. And it sat in the box, sat there so long that by the time I got to work, half of my soul was gone. They had sat there so long, they dry rot. Sitting in the box. Now somebody else could have worn them had I just gotten rid of them. And so I came home limping. I came home limping because half of the soul had dropped off of the shoe. But y'all know, anybody can identify with me? Take time to address the stinky smell you smell in the refrigerator. It's not going to go away unless you make it go away. Got some food in there, some greens in there, some shrimp in there that's been in there so long it's got gray hairs on it. It's old stuff. Throw away the bad food and make room for the fresh and the new food. How about that old car you got sitting in the yard? And you're going to keep it. You're going to fix it up. I'm going to have it repainted, and I'm going to have it fixed over again. I'm going to get new tinted windows. I'm going to have the inside redone. All of that stuff you're going to do for the last 10 years, and it's still sitting there. And some people have to still pay taxes on it and haven't driven it. Do something with it. Give it to charity. What about those shredded bills and those papers and you keep turning over and look at, and you got a mound of paper sitting everywhere. See how, papers from the 1990s. Bills from the 1990s. Now, some of you I ain't talking to because you ain't going to have nothing sitting around your house that long. But I'm talking about the rest of us, some of us who, get rid of that stuff. Take those books to the nearest library. You know, those old encyclopedias that the kids used to have that nobody uses anymore, and they just sit in there, and then you just get tired of it. Take them to the library. See what they'll do with it. Here it is. Delete the old text. Unsubscribe some of the email, people that's emailing you that you didn't give them your email. Unsubscribe them. Help me, Jesus. Because they are no longer needed or no longer necessary. What about seeking resolution to resolve and restore relationship issues that keep on digging at you, eating away at your peace? Realistically, we can't discard people like we do stuff. So we have to see, can we fix those issues, fix those things from the past that have brought us to where we are. Let me say that when we fail to deal with old stuff, it is showing the condition of our heart. You do know that, right? You do know that. How many of you have seen hoarders? As much as I can watch Investigation Discovery, mother-in-law, we can watch this all day long. We can watch that. I cringe to watch hoarders. I can watch Investigation Discovery and Homicide. I can watch that all day. But when it comes to that show called Hoarders, it does something to me. It does something to me because somewhere in that person's mind is a lot of junk. And they find it hard with parting with stuff that used to have significance, but now it has no more significance in their life. Yeah. But yet, if you tell them, throw away the paper bag. No, I can use the paper bag to line the garbage can. And so they have mounds of paper bags, mounds of rubber bands, old newspaper from the 60s. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Amen. They have issues parting with the past. I hope I'm on your street. I hope that's why I hope so. That's intent. In the text, Israel is on the precipice of the future. But before they can move forward, they must part with the past. 70 years of Babylonian exile and captivity under, I think it was King Cyrus. You Sunday school students, help me out. I think it was. The entire nation was challenged by God to make a break from the past. If you've read the book of Isaiah, and I have many times. We've studied it systematically, and I've just read it in my own daily devotion. That it is broken down into two components. The first part deals with God punishing them because of their disobedience, and God bringing correction to them because they failed to obey God and they fell into idol worship, but yet they were worshiping God, but it was a superficial worship, and they were worshiping God without spirit and without truth. They were doing it because religion said that you must do this, and so they thought that this was the way to worship, but yet they were dealing in idol worship. And so God would bring correction to the entire nation, and he sent them into exile for all of these years. Am I right, Sunday school teachers and Sunday school students? This is very important to the text, but the latter part, around like the 40th chapter, God began to really, the 40th chapter, he began to give them a positive perspective that even though they had to go through some things, he began to share with them that I'm going to bring you out, and he began to send them hope and messages of inspiration and messages to encourage them. That's one thing I love about God. One of the things I love about him, even if he has to punish me, he still will offer me the olive branch. He will still throw his hand out there and say, when I get finished doing this with you, guess what? You're going to be okay. I'm going to love on you, and I'm going to bring you out. And so he challenges Israel because their mindset, now they knew as a nation what it was like to be in captivity in Egypt, and they always celebrated that. But now they're dealing with Babylonian exile. It's a totally different thing. And so they had a problem with accepting the fact that if you put the past behind you and step into what God is going to do for you next, you really could have a good life. The past provides, living in the past for some people provides a safe place because they're afraid of the future. They know what they've dealt with in the past, but they're afraid to really, that's why some people won't go but so far in God, because they're afraid to really step out there and really go full force and just say, you know what, I'm throwing all of my efforts into God. So they'll come to church every once in a while, they'll give a few nickels, but to really go for God, they're afraid because of the past. I started one time before and I messed up. No. Some people find it hard to break because they can only identify with pain in the past